Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera kepada Encik Wan Ahmad Faizal bin Wan Abdullah. Nama saya Syahri Izzat bin Syahrul, matrik nombor 01 DKA 19F1155. Hari ini saya akan buat pembentangan jawapan untuk soalan set 3, soalan nombor 3. Soalannya yang pertama adalah, di Malaysia, sumber utama bekalan air adalah dari permukaan air. Nyatakan 3 sumber dari permukaan air. 3 sumber dari permukaan air adalah sungai, tasik, takungan atau empangan. Seterusnya, terangkan dengan jelas parameter-parameter sifat air yang dinyatakan seperti berikut. Yang pertama, kekeruhan, dan yang kedua, pH. Yang pertamanya adalah kekeruhan. Air yang mempunyai partikel koloid yang halus. Contohnya sisa-sisa tanah yang halus dan terdapat dalam air. Yang keduanya adalah pH. pH adalah ciri-ciri kimia. pH ni adalah sifat atau alkali. Dalam logi rawatan air, pH akan mempengaruhi proses penyahjangkitan kuman yang menggunakan klorin. pH mempengaruhi aktiviti bakteria. Soalan terakhir. Kena pasti 3 jenis bahan pencemaran yang perlu dikeluarkan dari air minuman. Yang pertamanya adalah fizikal. Fizikal ni iaitu rasa dan bau seperti bau busuk, gas H2S datang daripada perebutan haiwan, warna air perlu tidak jernih. Kekeruhan adalah air yang mempunyai partikel koloid yang halus. Suhu yang tinggi membolehkan kewujudan bakteria. Konduktiviti adalah keberhadiran arus elektrik yang menunjukkan adanya garam yang terlarut. Yang keduanya iaitu biologi. Bakteria atau kuman yang menyebabkan penyakit dan kematian. Alga adalah tumbuhan akuatik yang paling halus. Virus boleh menyebabkan penyakit demam panas. Protozoa iaitu lebih besar daripada bakteria. Itu adalah bahagian biologi. Seterusnya, kimia. Kimia iaitu nilai pH, iaitu asid atau alkali. Jika oksigen terlarut kurang dalam air, maka pencemaran tinggi. Sebatian organik datang daripada organisma dan tumbuhan yang mati dan mereput. Nutrien iaitu bahan yang boleh mencemarkan air seperti peracunan dan pembajaan. Itu saja jawapan daripada saya. Terima kasih.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Safan bin Zobri. My matrix number is 01 DKA19F115C. Today I will talk about my case study is set 3 question 5. The first question is, list 3 source of non-renewable water NRW. The answer is the loss of water caused by leaking pipes used for firefighting purpose, illegal connection, and evaporation from the pole is a loss in water supply system. The second question is, explain the pipe network system below. First, light end system. The second is grip system. The answer is light end system. Easy to solve, less shoot of valve, shorter pipe length, easy to lay pipes, cheap and simple, easily expand, prevent circulation of water, problem if a pipe is damaged. Next, grip system. Less discharge, friction loss, and pipe size. Not problem if a pipe is damaged. Good for firefighting. More pipe lines and shoot off valve. High cost of construction. Design is difficult and expensive. The third question is, interpret the following underground pipe leakage determination method. First, visual inspection. Second, leak noise sounding contactors. The answer is for visual inspection is using clues to detect leak like wet soil surface, green grass when drought season, there is a clean water flow into drain. Detect using chlorine test. Okay, the second, leak noise sounding detectors, more efficient and accurate in iron pipe, is not a plastic. Measuring at two suspected point by vibration or sound. The next is vibration are transmitted from sensor to the conductor. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Hello to our beloved lecturer Encik Wan. I'm Luqman Hakim bin Hasnul. My metric number is 01 DKA19F1157. Now I will answer the set 4 question number 2. Okay, the first one, difference between separate system and combined system. Separate system have two pipes. One pipe carries storm water. The second pipe carries sanitary sewage. Okay, combined system only have one pipe. Sanitary sewage from inside home and business flush and drain to the pipe. When it rains, storm water flow into the same pipe and mix with raw sewage. Separate system in housing and urban area, but combined system in rural area. Separate system used mainly in resident area or cities, but combined system used in town where streets are narrow and rainfall is less than the moderate. Advantage for separate system, no treatment for runoff and minimum sewer size. Advantage for combined system, installation easy and less piping, thus saving cost. Disadvantage of separate system is much pipe resulting increased cost, and the combined system, problem in handling. Next, we need to calculate the minimum gradient and the flow rate. By using Manning formula, we need to find the M first. The M value is 0.0875, and after that we need to find the C value, which is we get 1.4354. After that, by using Manning formula, we get the I, which is I is gradient. V also given 1.45, and the minimum gradient is we get 11.658. Okay, the next question is we need to calculate the sewer pipe diameter need for that residential area. The data has given, we just need to put the value to the equation. Okay, the first one we need to find D, which is 0.0523. After that, we need to times water demand per capita times flow rate factor and times how much houses at the residential area. We get 2,500, and then we need to times with the D we get just now. After that, we get the value is 4,314.75. So the answer is 4,314.75 need for that residential area. That's all for my presentation. Thank you.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Syamim Sekim Syaminizam. My metric number 01 DKA19F1158. Today I'm going to present for my question for the set 5 for question 3 for DCC 4012 Water Supply and Wastewater Engineering for case study. My lecturer's name is Encik Wan Ahmad Faisal for class DKA3E. For the first question is question 3 for A is the state 3 criteria for good water distribution system. For the first one, it should be capable for supplying water at all the intended places within the city with a reasonable sufficient pressure head. Second one, it should be safe against any future pollution of water. The last one is it should be safe as not cause the failure of the pipelines by bursting. And then for the question B, the purpose of distribution of system is to deliver water to the consumer with appropriate quality and pressure. With the aid of a diagram, briefly describe the types of water distribution system as follow. For the first one is the gravity system, and the second one is the pump system. For the gravity system, suitable when a source of supply is at a sufficient height, the most reliable and economical distribution system. The water head available at the consumer is just minimum required, and the last one is the remaining head is the consumed in the frictional and other losses. And then for the pump system, the treat water is directly into the distribution main out storing. The sources cannot maintain the minimum pressure of required. The last one is the pumps are used to develop the necessary head pressure to distribute water to the consumer and storage reservoir. And then for the question C, loss of water due to a leakage is a common phenomenon observed practically in a water distribution system. However, the leakage volume can be reduced significantly if the occurrence of leakage is detected within minimal time after its occurrence. Interpret the leakage control method below. One is the gas tracer, and the second one the passive control, the third one the pressure control, and the last one is the visual inspection. For the tracer gas, is a portable gas sensor is used to detect non-toxic gas. It escapes through leaks in pipe and rises through the surrounding soil to the ground surface. The tracer gas detection machines are fast and easy to use and also environment friendly. For the passive control, leakage will be fixed based on the report from concerned community. Fixing based on complaint reports something considering the new piping in all area. The method can be justified in area within a plentiful or low cost supplies, and it is often practiced in a less developed supply system where the occurrence of underground leakage is not so well understood. It is therefore often a first step to improvement. And then for the third one is the pressure control. It used in the area that have a high pressure changes. Small reducing pressure will reduce a leakage significantly, but most of the all piping material like metal mat pressure reducing could become a problem due to the internal pipe crusting. Typical method used for the first one is the pressure reducing valve, and the second one is reducing pumping head, and the last one is the pressure brake tank. And then the last one for the visual inspection, it used on the wet soil surface and green grass when drought season. And the last one is there is a clean water to flow into the drain detect using a chlorine test. That's all for me. Thank you.
Hai, Assalamualaikum. I am Muhammad Amzar Alif bin Mahazir and my matric number is 01 DKA1 and F1159. I am from DKA3E. Today I'm going to present about case study question 2 set 1. My first question is 5 criteria for pipe selection for sewerage system. Firstly, the sewer provided should be adequate in size to avoid overflow and possible health hazard. Secondly, for evaluating proper diameter of the sewer, correct estimation of sewerage discharge is necessary. Thirdly, the flow velocity inside the sewer should neither be so large as to require heavy excavation and high lift pumping, nor should be so small, causing deposition of the solid in the sewer. 4. The slope must be 1:200 to 1:25 in order to maintain the velocity. 5. The sewer should be laid at least 2 to 3 depth to carry sewage from basement, and the velocity must be at least 0.8. Second question is how the corrosion in sewer pipe occur. Firstly, the pH of the water. In copper piping system, if the pH is under certain level, it harms the protective barrier of the pipe and lead to corrosion. Secondly, oxygen in the water. Oxygen degrades metal, gradually converting to metal to rust. As this happens, impurities are deposited into water lines or collected on the piping walls, creating retraction and blockage. Thirdly, water chemical makeup. Minerals in water can either help or harm corrosive levels. For instance, high level of calcium can cause the level of build-up. 4. Water temperature. It turns out the hotter water, the more pronounced the corrosion. Lastly, water velocity. Excessive velocity and or sudden change in direction, turn elbow, can lead to erosion and corrosion because of water turbulence. Last question is calculate the flow rate using the Manning formula. Okay, the formula given is V equal to 1 over N, M2 over 3, power supply to I. The information given is D equal to 2 meter, gradient is 1:1000, the coefficient is 0.013, the depth is 1 meter.
Okay, the solution is V equal to 1 over 0.0.013 times bracket pi times 2 square over 4 over pi times 2 bracket power to 2 over 3 times bracket 1 over 1000 close bracket and power to 1 over 2. Okay, and the answer is V equal to 0.2025 meter per second. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Adam Liam Azizan, matrix number 01 DKA19F1160, and I'm going to discuss set 1 question 2 questions. So in this question there are 3 questions. So the first one is 5 criteria for pipe selection for sewage system. The second one is how the corrosion in sewer pipe occur, and the last one is calculate the flow rate using the following Manning formula. So let's start off with the first questions. So the first one is 5 criteria for pipe selection for sewage system. So first is the depth of sewer is 1.2 meter below the ground surface. Invert depth minimum if 1.2 meters. Number 2, velocity is minimum of 0.8 meter per second and maximum is at 4.0 meter per second. Number 3 is the slope is 1:200 to 1:25 in order to maintain the velocity. Number 4, the circulation sewer is 225 millimeters to 300 millimeters. And last one, number 5 is main sewers is 450 millimeters to above 900 millimeters diameter. So moving on to the next questions, question 2, how the corrosion in sewer pipe occur. So the rate of corrosion on a piping system is related to basically these factors. So there are 5 factors. So the first one is the pH of the water. Acidity of a water sample is measured on a pH scale. The pH scale ranges from 0, maximum acidity, to 14, maximum alkalinity, the middle of the scale. 7 represents the neutral point. So the second one is the amount of oxygen in the water. So a domestic water system in an open system where the water in use is always being replenished with fresh oxygenated water. Dissolved air in water consists of about 30% oxygen and the rest is mostly nitrogen, which is non-corrosive. Number 3 is the chemical makeup of the water. So dissolved minerals in the water and the basic chemical composition of the water may have differing effects on the corrosive forces at play. For example, a moderate to high level of calcium would help form a protective coating on the piping, which could slow down the corrosive effects. Number 4, the temperature of the water. The higher the temperature, the water temperature, the faster the rate of oxidation. Experience shows that corrosion is more pronounced in hot water lines. And the last one is the velocity pressure of the water in the pipe. Water velocity problems are usually associated with a closed loop piping system where the need to pump or circulate the water is required. Erosion corrosion occurs at locations where water turbulence develops. Turbulence can be caused by excessive velocity, sudden changes in direction, sharp turns, or elbows, and through flow obstacles such as bursts and soldier access. And moving on to the last questions, which is calculate the flow rate using the following Manning formula. So Manning formula as given in the slide, as in the question is V equals to 1 over n times m power of 2 over 3 times I power of 1 over 2, or square root I. So D is, the diameter is 2 meter, gradient is 1:1000, depth is 1 meter, and coefficient is 0.013. So we substitute all the data in the formula. So V is equivalent to 1 over 0.0113 times pi times 2 times 2 squared over 4 over pi times 2 in bracket power of 2 over 3 and times 1 over 100 power of half. So it is equivalent to 0.2025 meter per second. And that's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Khairi B. Iskandar Yang Barak. My matrix number is 01 DKA19F1161. Today I want to present about the water and wastewater management. Explain the use of the inverted siphon in the sewer system. An inverted siphon or depressed sewer is a sewer that runs full under gravity, flow at a pressure above atmosphere in the sewer. Inverted siphon are used to pass under the obstacle such as a barrier pipes, subway. As the inverted siphon require considerable attention for maintenance, it should be used only where other means of passing an obstacle in line of the sewer are impracticable. Question 2 is explain the differences between the separate system and the combined system. Separate system is two types of the pipe that sanitary sewer and run of sewer. Combined system is the sewage and storm water are discharged into the same sewer. Advantages for separate system is no treatment for runoff and minimum sewer size. Advantages for the combined system is less piping, thus saving cost, installation easy. Disadvantages for the mesh pipe for the separated system is the mesh pipe resulting increased cost. And disadvantages for the combined system is the thick wastewater when dry and thin wastewater when rainy become a problem for treatment plant. For the question 3, we use the formula V equal to M power by 2 over 3 and I power by 1 over 2. And the solution is like this. And continue with the NV per 1.498 power by 1 per 2 equal to D over 4 power by 2 over 3. And the solution will be like this. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Isyamuddin Brazi and my matrix number is 01 DKA 19F1162 and my section is DKA3E. First, I want to talk about three types of sedimentation tank. First is continuous flow type sedimentation tank, and two is horizontal flow type sedimentation tank, and third is a vertical flow type sedimentation tank. Then, the presence of significant amount of iron and manganese in a water supply. Discuss the problem caused by both metal in a water supply. Iron and manganese are common metallic elements found in earth crust. Iron and manganese are not held concern in drinking water. Instead, they both have a secondary and recommend drinking water standard because they cause aesthetic problem that make the water undesirable to use in home and bitter metallic taste that can make the water unpleasant to drink for both human and farm animal. Then is a accumulation process of free chlorine residual based on graph 2C. Use a chlorine breakpoint. The initial point where free available chlorine residue is a present detect. The breakpoint residue occur after the chlorine dosage rate exceeds the demand creep by reducing agent ammonia and organic. Then the breakpoint curve shape is determined by contact time, temperature, chlorine and ammonia concentration, pH and water quality. Thank you. That's all from me.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Amir bin Abdul Rahman. My registration number is 01DKA19F1163. Now I would like to present about the case study for the question at set 6, sesi Jun 2019 final exam question. Okay, for the first question is interact briefly for purpose of wastewater treatment. First, to kill organisms that can carry disease. Second, to increase oxygen content. Third, to eliminate dissolved gas. Fourth, to fresh dissolved mineral. And the last one, to eliminate unpleasant odor, taste and color. The second question is identify 5 difference between oxidation pond and activated sludge. For oxidation pond, a shallow basin of control shape which is designed for small communities or industrial plant. Second, to process involve two major steps in the decomposition of organic load in wastewater. Third is inorganic form are then used by algae in their photosynthesis reaction. 4. Photosynthetic is a natural process carried on by green plant in the process of light. The last is photosynthesis is oxygen which become available to the aerobic microorganism. For the activated sludge, microbes require air to live and eat. Second, microbes in this aeration tank use the dissolved and particular organic load as food. Third, producing more microbes. 4. Lose the water material that leave the primary clarify or change into microorganisms. The last can be collected and separated from the water in the next step. The last question is, as a technician, recommend a suitable sewerage system for a small capacity residential in rural area. For the suitable sewerage is improve tank. The reason why I choose improve tank is because it was developed to correct that defect of the septic tank. Second, to upper section of sedimentation compartment and the lower section for the digestion compartment. Next is contact between the waste flow and the anaerobic digesting sludge is eliminated. The reason why I choose this is it prevents the solid one removed from the sewage from again being mixed with it, but still provide for the decomposition of this solid. Retention time in primary settling compartment is reducing. This tank is easy to install, maintain and operate. The last is this tank are typically used for small community up to an equivalent of 1000 in hand. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Fatini Amni binti Muhammad Baharudin. My matrix number is 01DKA19F1164 and I'm from DKA3E. Okay, now I'm going to present the answer of question 6 set 1. Question A. A physical examination of sewage is carried out in order to determine its physical characteristic. Describe briefly the characteristic of 1. Odor. The answer is fresh domestic sewage is almost odorless. If a water has odor or color, it is considered as contaminated. Odor is usually caused by organic matter. Next is color. The answer is there are two colors of sewage, which is for fresh domestic sewage, the color is grey, and the septic sewage, the color is dark. For sewage, the colors will indicate the age and strain. Color could be in two types, which is colorless and color red. Okay, next I move to question B, which is explain the units, the functions of unit in a primary treatment system with an aid of a schematic flow diagram. Okay, in this diagram, it starts with raw sewage, and then it goes to screen, and then go to commuter. Next, you went to grid chamber. Then goes to primary clarifier, and the last one is the sludge treatment and disposal. As you can see, I have stated the functions in the slide. Okay, the last question is interpret the operation principles of sewage oscillation pond. Okay, the answer is oscillation pond, also called as lagoon or stabilization pond, are large and shallow, designed to treat wastewater through the interaction of sunlight, bacteria, and algae. Algae grows using energy from the sun and carbon dioxide, an organic compound released by bacteria in water. During the process of photosynthesis, algae release oxygen needed by aerobic microorganisms. Mechanical aerators are something installed to supply yet more oxygen, thereby reducing the required size of the pond. Sludge deposited in the pond must eventually be removed by dredging. Algae remaining in the pond influent can be removed by filtration or by combination of chemical treatment and settling. As a result of the organic in the water are partly oxidized and partly convert to algae cells. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Nushara binti Zikeli and my matrix number is 01 DKA19F1165. Okay, today I will present about my final December set 1 question 3. A. State a 5 main function of storage tanks. First, to provide treated water for emergency use like power shortage, pump maintenance, and firefighting. Number 2, to act as a break pressure tank. Number 3 is to equalize flow rate because for changing in demand or supply rates. Number 4 is maintain system prepared in specific range. And the last one is important to consider 10 function when assessing potential operation changing. B. Explain 5 factors that influence leakage or non-revenue water (NRW). Okay, first is pressure. Have two pressure is that pressure surge. Main is that have a main danger cause a pipe to burst when the pump stops or the valve closes suddenly. And the second one is pressure change like minor and neglected. Number 2 is ground movement. As mentioned, and contraction of the soil will cause mental like pipe fatigue. And number 3 is traffic load. Vibration will cause tiny crack to the pipe if the bending is not strange and improper depth. Number 4 is soil condition. Leaking water in the soil tank to imperil of the soil surface because of the capillary rise. Will soil cause the plant looks and green, indicating water even in through season. And the last one is constant flow valve to provide any accurate way to controlling flow configuration and used to set flow rate. Question C. Water dispersion method is independent on the level of source topography of the area and another local condition. Illustrate with explanation with gravity system and pump system. Okay, this is a gravity system which have elevated water supply and have fire water. This system is just like water is supplied from a higher place to a lower place. It's just like treatment plant is located at a high ground and from user. Friction in piping can cause energy loss, which eventually can cause static heat. This make end user experience low water from tap. Their advantage is reliable and low operation cost, suitable for community at the lower ground. And this advantage is static heat will cause drop in pressure and cause user pump system which have pumping static and water supply. This system used for low pressure and end user and located on lower ground than end user, and water is directly pumped to delivery pipe. Advantage, pressure and flow of water can be adjusted from demand. Disadvantage, water supply cut off if there are no electric or pump defective, and different water flow rates cause pressure to change, and pump operation at different speed according to rate of flow, causing to the pump can damage quickly. Okay, thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Syahmi Muhammad Saleh. My matrix number 01 DKA1 F1166 section DKA3E. I want to present about the question of water supply and wastewater engineering DCC 40152. The first slide is set 2 soalan 4. A. State 5 type of chemical characteristic of wastewater. The answer is organic matter, measurement of organic matter, inorganic matter, gas and pH. The next slide is B. Initial state in wastewater treatment process is preliminary treatment. Describe briefly the screening process and grit removal process in preliminary treatment for wastewater. The answer is screen is the device used to retain solid found in the effluent wastewater to the treatment plant. The main purpose of screening is to remove solid material that could cause damage to other process equipment. The next is the objective of preliminary treatment is the removal of coarse, solid and other large material often found in raw wastewater. Removal of this material is necessary to extend the operation and maintenance of subsequent treatment units. Okay, the next slide is question C. Illustrate how individual septic tank work. The answer is septic tank works by allowing waste to separate into 3 layers: solid, effluent, and scum. See illustration above. The solid settle to the bottom where microorganisms decompose them. The middle layer of effluent exit the tank and travel through underground perforate pipe into the drainage field. That's all from me. Thank you.
My name is Ahmad Zahid bin Skipli. My matrix number is 01 DKA19F1167. Today I will present about the question that I get. That is set 4 question 1. Let's go to the first question. For the first question is list 5 categories of water usage. First, we have a commercial demand. Second, we have a industrial demand. And third, we have a public use. Fourth, we have agriculture. And 5, we have the domestic demand. Now we move to the second question. There is a probable population in the year 2040. First, we just need to make a table. We have a year table, resident and resident increase, and we must fill out the data that we get from the question, and from that we can get the resident increase. After that, the total of resident increase is 83,625, and after that the total of the resident increase we must divide with 4, and the answer is 20,906.25, and after that we must plus it with the resident in 2020, and we get the answer is 111,777.25. After that we do a same step and can get the final answer is 153,589.75. Now we move to the final question that we must find water demand. First, we just need to list the data that we get from the question. First, we have a total population that is 356,000, and we have water demand is 225 liter capita per day, and design factor is 1.0. Water coverage is 19%, and NRW is 21%. And and the formula is WD equal to, in bracket, PN multiply with the Q and multiply with the F1 and multiply with F2 in bracket and plus with NRW, and the final answer is 87,228,900 liter per day. That's all.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Adam bin Azhar. My metric number is 01DKA19F1168. Today, I want to present about my question. The first question is: a physical examination of sewage A is carried out to determine its physical characteristics. Briefly explain the characteristics of odor and color. Odor: release the smell as if it stinks, and therefore the place of this sewage A system while in a place far from living or public place. Second answer is color: ready water color, but if mixed with acid, then the color will turn black. Sometimes it is brown. Second question is: explain the function of the units in a management system with the aid of a systematic flow diagram. You can see at the slide beside me the answer. And the last question is: interpret the operating principle of a sewage oxidation pump. The answer is: in the first bowl, solid and organic settle down to form sludge digested by microorganisms. In the second pump, algae growing on the surface provide water with oxygen, leading to both anaerobic digestion and aerobic oxidation of organic pollutant. Due to the activity of algae, the pH increase, which lead in innervation of a pathogen and volatilization of ammonia. The latter pools serve for the retention of stable solid and the inactivation of pathogenic microorganisms through pH heating and solar diffusion. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Nabila Fatia binti Zarin. My metric number is 01DKA19F1169. Today, I will present about my question, which is set 5, question number 5. For question 5 is state 3 criteria of good water system, and the answer is have good water quality by meeting local needs such as colorless, not too big, not hard, and does not contain suspended solids. Next is quantity and pressure of water supply is adequate for all users, including for 5 prevention. And lastly is non-revenue water occurs at the minimum of rate 15%. Question B. The purpose of distribution system is to deliver water to consumer with appropriate quality and pressure. With the aid of a diagram, briefly describe the type of water distribution system as follows. Number 1 is gravity system, and number 2 is pump system. Gravity system is, as you can see, the diagram on it. And gravity system is water supply from a higher place to a lower place. The treatment plant is located at the higher ground from user. Friction in piping can cause energy loss, which eventually can cause static head. This will make end user experience low water tap. Advantage of the gravity system are reliable, low operation costs, and suitable for community at the lower ground. Gravity system also has the disadvantages, which is static head will cause a drop in pressure and cause end user angry. For pump system, as you can see from the side is a diagram, and the pump system is used for low pressure end user. Pump system is located on lower ground than end user, and the water is directly pumped to delivery pipe. Advantages for pump system is pressure and flow of water can be adjusted for demand. Disadvantages for pump system, water supply cut off if there is no electricity or pump defective. Different water flow rates cause pressure to change and pump. Question 4C. Loss of water due to leakage is a common phenomenon observed practically in all water distribution systems. However, the leakage volume can be reduced significantly if the occurrence of leakage is detected within minimal time after the occurrence. Interpret the leakage control methods below, which is gas tracer, passive control, pressure control, and the visual inspection. For gas tracer is one of the methods to detect leakage. Gas tracer is a portable gas sensor used to detect non-toxic gas as it escapes through leaks in pipe and rises through the surrounding soil to the ground surface. And for the passive control is a method to control leakage. Passive control is based on the leakage that will fix based on report from concerned community. It will be fixing based on complaint or report, sometimes considering the new piping in all area. For number 3, pressure control. Pressure control is used in the area and that is have high pressure changes. It is small reducing. It will reduce leakage significantly, but most of the old piping material like metal made pressure reducing could become a problem due to internal piping crusting. For typical methods used are pressure reducing valve, reducing pumping head, and pressure brake tongue. And lastly is a visual inspection. Visual inspection is a method to detect leakage. Visual inspection are using clues to detect leak, like it is a wet soil surface, green grass when drought season, and there is a clean water flow into drain to decay using chlorine test. Okay, that is all from me based on my question, and thank you for watching and bye.
Hello, my name is Muhammad Nazib bin Galuh Jamal and my metric number is 01 DKA19F1170. So today I want to explain about the question that I get is set 4 and question 4. So the first question, the 3 importance of chlorine residual test for water supply. Jadi yang pertama, klorin ni adalah untuk membunuh kuman. Yang kedua untuk mengurangkan algae, odor, dan yang ketiga adalah menghilangkan ferrum. So the next question is state 5 site criteria to be considered when designing water treatment plant. Yang pertama, costing. Yang kedua, type of source and the best location at deep point far from the soil. And the third one, study the degree of contamination at the point. Yang keempat, at a distance from the community. And last one is large enough with the possibility of extension in future. So next question is dia minta water treatment process flow diagram from water intake until storage tank, dan terangkan the principle of coagulation dan filtration process. So coagulation is the process of destabilization of the negative charge on suspended particulates and colloids at optimum dose. The purpose of destabilization is to reduce repelling character of the particles and allow them to become attached to other particles so that they can be removed in the following process. and the particulates in raw water are mainly clay, silt, virus, bacteria, fulvic and human acid, mineral and organic particulates. Most coagulants are cationic in water such as lime, ferrum, sulfate and cationic polymers. So for filtration is the most reliable water treatment process to remove particulate material suspended or colloidal impurities from water. Coagulation, flocculation and sedimentation are used to assist the filtration process to function more effectively. Water leaving the sedimentation tank still contain floc particles. There are two types of filtration. First is filtration rate, next is driving force. So this is the water treatment process flow diagram from water intake until storage tank. That's all for me. Thank you.
My name is Nur Fatina Zirah binti Abdul Halim, matrix number F1171. I will talk about water. Surface water. Water found on land surface. Rainwater will flow on the surface of the earth at surface water that will reach the drainage system. Major water sources for daily use industrial example in lakes, river and reservoirs. Second is groundwater. Groundwater is water stored in layer of soil or rocks located below the earth's surface. Groundwater lies under the surface of the land. Characteristic of water. First, hardness. Because of iron, calcium, magnesium, aluminium, problem like carbonate precipitate that clogging the pipe. Two type is temporary and permanent. Odor and taste are smelly, considered contaminated. H2S come from decay of dead organism and plants. Bad taste come from inorganic material and other organisms. Dissolved solid. If water is filtered to remove suspended solid, the remaining solid in water indicates to total dissolved solid. pH value stands for the power of hydrogen. Numerical value of pH determined by the molar concentration of hydrogen ions affecting chemical process and affecting biological life. Protozoa much bigger than bacteria and eat bacteria. Reduce organic load. If it is too much can cause problem, but if too little, not efficient treatment. That cause river pollution in Malaysia. First, industry. Sewage from domestic building and factory. Disposal of solid waste by human in river. 2. Oil. Industrial waste from the factory channels insoluble in water and from a thick group. 3. Garbage disposal, causing river water quality to decline and no longer safe to domestic use. Also, invite water crisis and troubles individuals living on the river. 4. Throwing of plastic in the river. Lightweight and it floats easily. Plastic are non-biodegradable and it can affect the survival marine life for a very long time. Lastly is thermal pollution. With the rising temperature in the water, it can reduce the amount of oxygen present in the water and decrease the level of aquatic life that the river can support. That's it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tugasan binti Muhammad. My metric number is 01 DKA19172. I am from DKA3E. State 3 main function of storage tank. First, receive water supply from service pipe. 2. Water storage tank help to provide water temporarily when water supply disruption occurs. 3. Serve to restore water before being drained to piping equipment through distribution pipes. Okay, B. Explain with the end of diagram the layout of the dispersion system below. The end system usually found in all cities that are not fully planned. This system evolves according to urban development, so it is suitable for use in cities that grow irregularly, or for housing schemes suitable for housing schemes as they are low cost and easy for future development. Okay, second is grey iron system. In this system, the redistribution pipes and their substation are connected to each other. These pipelines are commonly used in planned urban areas.
Okay, within one of the components in water dispersion system, list 4 types of wave. First A gate wave, second A butterfly wave, third A air wave, 4A one-way wave. Okay, list the advantage and disadvantage of pump system and gravity system in a water dispersion system. First, in this system, treated water is pumped out at a constant rate to be stored in high-level water storage. The net distribution of water to user from the storage flow was made through the force of gravity. This system is more often used due to its effective and low cost, used in areas with deserved surface area. Water pumps are used to pump treated water from low ground to be generated to storage tank. The position of storage tank in high areas pump pressure on water to be generated to customer premise in low areas.
Oh my God, baby, don't you?
My name is and my metric number is 01 DKA3E and I'm from DKA3E. So for the question I choose is set 1, question 1, December 2016. Identify 5 classification of the water demand. Firstly is domestic demand, commercial demand, industry demand, public use and agriculture. Factor affecting demand of water usage is firstly is total population served, second consumption per capita, factor design factor, and lastly is additional demand factors. As you guys can see, this is the calculation for the future demand of year 2020. The given population information in Tamakali is in year 1990. Thank you for listening for my presentation, and I hope you have a great day and have a nice day.
Hello and warm welcome everyone, especially my beloved lecturer in J1, Ahmad Faisal bin Wan Abdullah and fellow friends. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Navindul, son of Annamalai, and my medical ID is 01 DKA19F1174 and I am from DKA3E. Today I'll be discussing about the set 5 question number 4. Without wasting any time, let's start it. Question A. State 3 importance of chlorine residual test for water supply. One of the most important is to get a free chlorine reading. Second is chlorine joins from the water sample. Thirdly, the presence of the excess chlorine will decompose to nitrogen gas and hydrogen chloride. Site selection is important to be considered when designing the water treatment plan. Explain 5 site criteria to be considered when designing water treatment plan. Solution 1. Water intake location and supply area distance from intake height for pump can supply directly at low cost and energy. Hydraulic consideration using slopy land to minimize energy cost. Key terrain and groundwater level to avoid rocky soil, swampy soil and high groundwater level soil to avoid high construction costs. Fourth is land availability under local authority for development area. Fifth point is accessibility to plant, easy access for power and communication, the nearest possible for workers to have social need, supply for equipments and plant need. Question C. Draw water treatment process flow diagram from water intake until storage tank and briefly explain the principle of calculation and filtration process. Now I'll be explaining the water treatment flow diagram. Raw water will be adding with the coagulant and the coagulation process will happen. After that, the flow occultation process will happen. After that, the sedimentation process will happen. After that, the filtration process will happen. And lastly, the flow will end with the treated storage tank. Solution of coagulation. Coagulation is the process of destabilization of the negative charge on suspended particulates and colloid dose. The process of destabilization is to reduce the character of the particles and allow them to be attached to other particles so that they can be removed in the next process, which is pH form. The particulates in raw water are mainly clay, silice, fulvic, humic acids, bacteria, virus, and organic particulates. Most coagulants are cationic in water, such as aluminium, ferrum, sulfur, lime, and cationic organic polymers. Solution of filtration process. Filtration is the most important reliable process in water treatment to remove particulates, material, suspended or colloidal impurity from water. Coagulation, flocculation, and sedimentation are used to assist the filtration process to function more effectively. The water leaving the sedimentation tank still contains flow particles. There are two types of filtration. One is the filtration rate and another one is the driving force. That's all from me. Thank you so much.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And hello to Encik Wan Ahmad Faizal bin Abdullah. My name is Muhammad Ilham bin Cekmi. My metric number is 01 DKA19F1176. And I am from DKA3E. Today I would like to talk about my case study, which is set 3 question 1. Next we go to the question 1. Explain briefly the following use water. First is domestic. Domestic water supply means the source and infrastructure that provide water to household. Household use water for many purposes: drinking, cooking, washing hand and body, washing clothes, cleaning, cooking utensils, cleaning the house, watering animals, irrigating the garden, and often for commercial activities. Second is commercial. Commercial water used in office buildings primarily is used for sanitation, maintenance, and aesthetic appeal. Okay, next we go to the question 1b. Question 1b is want to calculate the population for 2030 using arithmetic method and geometric method. Okay, first we must use arithmetic method. Arithmetic method, we have to find the resident increase. To find the resident increase, resident after minus the resident before and get the answer of resident increase. And after that we get the total and we get the decade average. Decade average we must to divide by 5 because the resident increase we got 5. And to get the resident increase in 2010, 2020 and 2030, we must to plus with 330 with decade average to get the answer of resident increase. Okay, now we go to geometric method. Geometric method is a little bit different with arithmetic method because we have to find the percentage. To get the percentage, resident increase divide by resident before multiply 100% to get the percentage. And to get the other answer, we have to use the same method. After that, we'll total up the percentage. After total up the percentage, we have to find the decade average. Decade average is the percentage is divided by 5 to get the percentage, and then we have to find the percentage 2010, 2020 and 2030. To get that, we have to put the resident plus decade percentage multiply the resident to get the answer. To get the other answer, we have to use the same method as you can see. Okay, next we go to the last question, which is to find the population for the next 30 years. Okay, as you can see, resident increase in this question we got 10,000 for each year. For the decade average we got 10,000, and the resident for 2030 is 70,000 and resident increase is 80,000. And last is to calculate the year which the treatment plant reach its design capacity is 2010. That's all from me. Thank you so much.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Aizat Kumar Biasa Zaidi. My metric number 01 DKA19F1177. Okay, for the first question, stage 5 main function of storage tank. First, to provide a treated water for emergency use like a power shortage, pump malfunction and firefighting. Second, to act as a brake pressure tank Next, to increase flow rate because of changing in demand rate and a supply rate. Next, to provide a treated water storage to minimize supply destruction during a pipe damage. Next, to increase the dairy piping rate. Okay, for the next question is explain 5 factors of influence leaking or non-revenue water. First is pressure. The point is pressure source that is main danger and cause the pipe burst when the pump stop or the valve close suddenly. The next point is pressure change, minor and neglected. Okay, next ground movement. The point is expansion or and contraction of the soil will cause metal that is pipe fitful. Next is traffic load. The point is vibration will cause a tiny crack to the pipe if the bedding is not strengthened and improperly. Next is material and wood in the pool quality. The point is fitting materials such as valve and joint are not suitable or pool quality. Also, installation, fixing, setting up are not a good workmanship. The last one is pipe lifespan. The point is depend on the material property like durability, internal or external corrosion resistance, impact load, tensile and bending due to the weak bedding. Illustrate with explanation to the gravity system and pump system. Okay, for gravity system, water is supplied from the highest place to the lower place. Treatment plant is located at the higher ground from user. Friction in piping can cause energy loss, which eventually can cause a static head. This will make end user experience slow water from top. Okay, next for pump system. Pump system are used for low pressure end user, located at the lower ground than the end user, and water are directly pumped to the delivery pipes. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and very good evening. My name is Amir Shazwan bin Ahmad Omar from class DKA3E and my matrix number 01DK19F178. My lecturer name is Encik Wan Ahmad Faizal bin Wan Abdullah. I want to talk about set 4, question 6. 3 of purpose wastewater treatment. Primary step operate to remove pollutant by sedimentation, flotation and screening. Only physical processes are used for this step. Secondary unit include a biological biochemical reactor such as trichome filter and suspended ground tank, a secondary sedimentation tank and a desinfection, mostly chlorination unit. Advanced treatment, the main goal is to remove nutrients, especially nitrogen and phosphorus, various toxic substances such as heavy metals and other synthetic hazard waste. And then oxidation ponds and activate sludge, anaerobic ponds, facultative ponds, maturation ponds, nitrogen removal, and the last one is organic matter removal. And then hydraulic flow, conventional activate sludge, Wenman configuration, Lazar integral configuration, and the last one is manifold configuration. Process involved in wastewater from hospital. Primary stage of treatment. As a first stage, primary treatment process is essential in most of sewage treatment plant. It removes items such as sticks, rag and other large debris and heavy organic solids contained in the hot tank infiltrate screens. Removal of this material protect plants equipment from damage. The inorganic sector is called as grief, which is removed using grief chamber. This is the second step in sewage treatment system. Physical separation of solid and gases from wastewater is done in the stage. Now water flow into primarily filter or carry free for a few hours to allow solid particle to settle down, and lighter particle will float to the top will be skimmed off the tank. The settled solid is called as primary sludge or primary influent, contain about 60 or 70% of solid. Partly treated wastewater is now subjected to next treatment level. It's a biological treatment process. Remove dissolved inorganic material present in solute and corridor from the wastewater. Here, bacteria are used to convert the corridor and dissolved organic matter. Now, the pressure treated wastewater from primary tank flow into the aeration tank, and air is supplied through air blower to provide oxygen for microbes. When wastewater flow into a secondary culvert where solids settle down, which is called a secondary sludge, and part of its cycle of activate sludge process and remaining is mixed with primary sludge, which will be sent to sludge discussion tank and then disposed of. This stage remove about 90% of organic solid. The last stage is more of the STP. This stage remove the suspended solid and organic matter which was not removed in secondary treatment. The pathogenic microorganisms which we not removed during biological treatment process will get removed by the process called disinfection. Several disinfection agents can be used depending on wastewater condition. It is achieved by means of physical or chemical disinfection like chlorine, UV light, ozone. Now, disinfected wastewater is suitable for disposal or use. And then the last one is if the water is not treated accurately, the harmful contaminant in the sewage is hazardous to human health and a natural environment. So sewage treatment plant in hospital is always necessary to reduce harmful impact on the environment. That's all for me. Thank you.
Hi and Assalamualaikum to our lecturer, Encik Wan Muhammad Faizal. I am Siti Suhada binti Nazaruddin from DKA3E and my matric number is 01 DKA19F1179. So right now, I will answer the question number 5 from set 6. Well, now I have to go to my first question, which is I have to identify 3 importance of chlorine residue test for water supply. So for the first is, it is obtain free chlorine and chlorine readings from water source samples. So for the next is this using titration methods or using apparatus, which is Lovibond comparator. And the third is to monitor and evaluate project by testing stored water in households. So I would like to go to the next question, which is I have to describe 5 significance of water treatment process. So for the first is it is to remove microbiological contamination and those physical constituents which affect the acceptability or promote microorganism survival, which is largely it is related to the suspended solids in the water. And then the next is it is to inactivate any remaining bacteria as the final unit of treatment. So for the next is it is to provide a residual disinfectant which is will kill any bacteria introduced during storage and or distribution. And the next is it is significant for remove contaminants and undesirable components or reduce their concentration so that the water becomes fit for its desired and use. So lastly, it is ensuring access to clean water and avoiding contamination of rivers and seas. And then I would like to go to the next question, which is I have to list 4 chemical process in water treatment system. 4 chemical process in water treatment system, which is first serum and mangan removal, second water softening, third disinfection, and the fourth is pH adjustment. So now I continue to my last question, which is I have to interpret coagulation and flocculation process in water treatment. So for the first is coagulation is process of destabilization of the negative charge on suspended particulates and colloids at optimum dose. Meanwhile, flocculation is agglomeration of destabilized particles and colloids to make suitable or filterable particles. The next is the purpose of coagulation is to reduce repelling character of the particles and allow them become attached to other particles so that they can be removed in following process. While flocculation is normally flocculation involves a gentle stirring to enhance contact to destabilize particles and to build flock particles of optimum size, density, and strength. The next is coagulation. Is particulates in raw water are mainly clays, silts, virus, bacteria, fulvics and humic acids, minerals, and organic particulates. So for the next is flocculation. Flocculate particles may be small, which is less than 0.1 millimeter diameter, which is microflocks or large. It is also visible flocks, which is 0.1 millimeter to 3.0 millimeter diameter. For the next is coagulation most cationic in water such as alum, ferrum, sulfate, lime, and cationic organic polymers. Meanwhile, flocculation is subsequently removed by settling or filtration. So that's all from me. Thanks for watching.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Jun2020 from DKA3E. My metric number is 01DKA19F1180. I am from Civil Engineering Department. I was assigned to present a set of 5 questions 1 December 2018. For question 1A, water demand is equivalent to the water used for some beneficial purposes. List 5 categories of water usage. And the answer is plantation, agriculture, domestic, livestock, and industrial. For question 1B, by using the incremental increase method, calculate the probable population in years 2040. Okay, after calculating, the population response is likely in 2040 to be 153,589 people. For question 1C, calculate the water demand during the years in which the water coverage is 90%. Take design factor as 1.0 and non-revenue water as 21%. Use capital consumption as equal 225 liter per day. Assume there is no industrial water requirement. Okay, Q equal 2025 liter per day, and RW percentage equal to 21%. Design factor equal 1.0, and water demand equal 90%. PN 2015 equal to 356,000 people. Enter in the formula, and the final answer is 88.23 million liter per day. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to our lecturer. My name is Muhammad Razim Beshari. Number metric is 01DKA19F1181. Okay, today I will like to presentation to water supply and water engineering. Okay. Question 1. Three proposal of water treatment. Okay, number 1, to prevent contamination. The organic content in water is very high. To reduce it, it must be treated before being thrown into the environment. To manage water effectively, water must be collected properly through a sewerage system, treated at the factory before being dumped into the water surface. Okay. 3. To control infectious diseases. If not treated before discarding, it can harm humans with pathogenic microorganisms. Point 2. This will cause outbreak of diseases such as cholera and typhoid. Okay, next slide. Biological sewage treatment is an important and integral part of any water treatment plan that treat water from municipality of industry. Different of the following process of biological sewage treatment. Okay, now I will continue to oxidation part and activity. Photosynthesis is a neutral process carried on by green plant in the process of light. Okay, one of the eight products of photosynthesis is oxygen, which become available to the aerobic microorganism. As a result of the reaction in the pot, the organic in water are partly or diseased and partly converted to algal cancer cell. Okay, now activate through the microbes require air to live and air to air into the tank. Microbes in this aeration tank use the dissolved and particular organic fluid as food product. More microbes through the waste material that left the primary carry a change into microorganisms which can be controlled and apart from the water in the next step. Okay, next. Okay, now diagram or see the point and activate route. Okay. Surface treatment refers to the process of remove contamination microorganisms. Other tips to plan for water is include and explain the process involved in water treatment from the hospital. Okay, 1. Insulation. All solid and liquid water will go through the setting process, so then test integrate or not mixed when the water treatment process is started. 2. Holding the water to be treated is controlled, so then will solid water no escape from being treated. Number 3. Temporary storage. The treated water will be stored temporarily to access water quality. This is done so then it's safe for user to use. Okay, number 4. Distribution. The treated water will be sent to the user through the processing system. Okay. Next slide. Okay, this only. Thank you, sir.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to our beloved lecturer Encik Wan and everyone. So before I begin, let me introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Syahrul Aiman bin Syam. My matrix number is 01 DKA3E 11F1182. So today I want to present about my answer for set 4 question number 3. For the first question, the answer is two sources of water supply for domestic use in Malaysia is surface water such as lakes, river, sea and stream, and another one groundwater such as aquifer, well and boring. So the answer for question B is first answer for taste and odor. It is smelly or putrid, that is considered contaminated, that it has H2S, come from decay of dead organisms and plants, and then bad taste, that is come from inorganic material and other organisms. So the answer for hardness is because of iron Ca, Mg, Al, Fe and Mn. Second, problem like carbonate precipitate, then clogging the pipe. And third, temporary CO3 power of -2 and HCO3 power of -2, boiling and soda. And the permanent, that is SO4 power of -2, C11 NO3 power of -2 and soda. And the answer for protozoa is it is much bigger than bacteria and eat bacteria. Second, those reduce organic load. And lastly, too much problems and too little, that is not efficient treatment. So answer for the last question is first, individuals dump toxic waste and solid waste into the rivers. Irresponsible and profit-oriented attitudes alone have made human hearts and feeling less concerned with the impact on towards the environment. The factory operators in particular strive to save and disposal costs by taking the easy way of dumping toxic factory waste without treatment into the river, despite being aware of its impact on the environment. This causes the river water quality to decrease. This will cause reduction of fresh water. 2. Residents dump garbage in the river. The reckless and lazy population will throw solid water such as food waste, furniture and electronics into the rivers. This will cause the river to be polluted and poisoned. And 3. The certain parties in not responsible for forest exploration. Exploration of forests for purpose such as uncontrolled urban development and construction of physical infrastructure indirectly contribute to water pollution. So the soil that flow into the river will cause the river water to be murky because it contains the residue that found in soil.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nosham Zaimi. My matric number is 01 DKA19F1183. Today, I want to present about set 4, question number 4. The first question is 3 criteria of good water distribution system. Okay, number 1 is have a good water quality by meeting local needs and such as colorless, not turbid and not hard. Number 2 is quantity and pressure of a water supply is adequate for all use. And last is not revenue water occur at the minimum rate of 50%. Okay, next question is 3B. We have to the type of a diagram and describe the type of the water distribution system as the follow. Okay, this is example for this diagram and the type of water distribution system of gravity system. The water is supplied from a high place to the lower place. And next is the treatment plant is located at a higher ground from a for 3B environment is a gravity system, but number 2 is a pump system. And we have a diagram 2 for the
pump system, and the pump system is used for pressure and the user, and they're located on lower ground then and user. And our last question is 3C, and the question is interpret the leakage method below. Okay, we have a four. That's number one is gas tracer. The gas tracer is portable gas sensor. It's used to detect non-toxic gas. And number two is passive control. Number two, the linkage control method for passive control. And its linkage will be fixed based on the report from concerned community. Number three is pressure control. Pressure control is a method for pressure control, and it's used in the area like that it have a high pressure change and have a small reducing pressure will be reduced linkage significantly. And the last is visual intersection. Visual intersection is a method to detect the linkage, like using clues to detect such as a weak soil surface. That's all from me, Nur Syamimi Tisaimi, and thank you for watching.
Hi, Assalamualaikum and very good morning. My name is Siti Nurhidayah binti Wafai, matrix number 01, DKA3E I'm from Civil Engineering Department. So today I'm going to present chapter 2 about uses and demand of water supply. So I will present set 2 June 2017 final exam question 1. Okay, now I will start my presentation. First, the first question is question 1A, which is identify two factors affect the population growth. The first answer is birth rate. If it decrease, if the practice the family planning practiced by the population of the area. Next, better educate people who not like the number of real child. The last one is government policy may alter the birth rate. The next answer is decrease rate. Decrease rate is a modern medical attention low adult and instant mortality rate. The next is epidemic. Natural disaster, and disease war. Okay, next question B is based on table A1, calculate the population for town A for the year 2030 by using geometrical increase method. So you can see here the question and the table. By the way, for your information, for calculate population, we have three methods, which is arithmetic method, geometrical method, and depreciation method. For arithmetic method is assumption used is increase with a fixed rate of population. For geometrical method, assumption used is percent increase in population from decade to decade is fixed. And the last one is depreciation method. Assumption used when a population decline to be due to the saturation development. So the next is you can see how I calculate for geometrical method for search population in 2030. Okay, for the last question is question C, which is using the answer in B, estimate water demand per person per day in year 2030 if domestic water usage, design factor, and survey factor are given in data. Next is calculate the following additional demand by industry demand and NRW percentage are given in data. So here you can see how I calculate for water demand and additional demand. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you. Bye.
Assalamualaikum and hi, especially to our lecturer Encik Wan Ahmad Faizal bin Wan Abdullah
My name is Tengku Na'ali Izzati binti Tengku Azam. My matric number is 01 DKA19F1185 and I'm from class DKA3E. Today I would like to present about the set 2 question 2. The first question is list 5 component part of a deep manhole. The first is access shaft. The next is working camber. The third is base and side wall. The fourth is bottom or invert, and the last is cover and frame. The next question is sketch and explain in detail how corrosion occurs in a sweat pipe. The first is bacillus bacteria in the sewage water convert sulfite in the sewage into sulfide. The next is sulfide in the liquid make their way to the surface of the sewage and release into the sewage atmosphere as hydrogen sulfide H2S gas. And the last is bacteria action convert H2S gas to sulfuric acid, which causes corrosion at the top of the pipe. This is the sketch how the corrosion occurs in the sewage pipe. And the last question is a residential scheme in place has 3 lines of terrace house comprising 45 housing units. By using many formula to determine the flow velocity, determine the diameter of square pipe required. Assume full pipe velocity. The data given if water demand per capacity is 225 liter of people or day, and the next is household 5% or unit. The third is flow rate factor is 6, and the fourth is roughness coefficient 0.013, and the last is swell pipe slope is 1:200. And this is the conclusion and the answer. That's all for me. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Shazwan bin Ghazali, my number matric 01 DKA19F1186. Today I will talk about 3 questions. First question is 3 importance of chlorine residual test. First, chlorine is added to K microorganisms. Second, the benefit of water free from harmful microorganisms. Thirdly, lack of soluble substance and suspend materials is the presentation in the water. Second question, 5 such criteria to be considered. First, position of entry plant and supplier area. The treatment plant is close to the entrance slot to save on the distance of raw water and the distance of the wastewater and slash manufacture. And secondly, hydraulic consideration. Gravity flow is often present for the supply of raw water from the head. Thirdly, land excavation facilities. Avoid land excavation problem for private land. Secondly, insurance and its facilitates construction work and movement of goods and work. In addition, it is better to place the plane in the town area to facilitate certain work. And 5, flood treatment plant should be placed on area that have undergone flood design with a return period of 100 years. And thirdly, the principle of coagulation and failure process. Firstly, the principles of coagulation. The flow in the coagulation stand is controlled to the obtain an optimal temperature. The aluminum dose used to form a good ketchup and facilitate the sanitization process. Secondly, filtration process, clear water and free from ferment material. Water treatment process. First, water from river. Secondly, coagulation tank. Thirdly, sedimentation tank. And 4, filtration tank. And 5, chlorination tank. And 5, storage tank. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nufatia Manina binti Muhammad Waslan, and my matric number is 01 DKA19F1187. The set question that I get is set 2, session June 2017, question 5. Question A. A reservoir is a store space for fluids. List 5 types of reservoir construction material. The answer for question A is 1. Reinforced concrete, 2. Pre-stressed concrete, 3. Galvanized pressed steel, 4. Fiberglass reinforced plastic, 5. Steel fused with glass. Question B. The purpose of distribute system is to deliver water to consumer with appropriate quality, quantity and pressure. Describe water distribute using gravity system method. The answer for question B is, for gravity flow system to work properly, the pipe must run full of water with no airlock. Gravity can then be used to move water over hill and undulation between the spring and the reservoir tank. The method works for as long as the spring tank is at the highest point in the system and that there is enough height difference between spring tank and the reservoir tank. To give a sufficient flow redistribution network, 2 once friction loss have been taken into account. They also use gravity to move water to the taps through thinner pipe. This is example that tank must be at a higher place, so the water runs out from the tap with good pressure. Question C. Non-revenue water and RW refer water that has been produced but got lost before it reached the customer. Loss has been either real loss or appropriate loss. List and explain in detail 5 causes of NRW. The answer for question B is 1. Pressure. Pressure surge is main danger. Cause pipe to burst when the pump stop or the valve close suddenly pressure. The change is minor neglect. Second is ground movement. Ground movement is expansion and construction of the soil will cause mental fatigue. Third is rusting in pipe from electrolysis. There is 3 processes. One is process internal, to be exact, high chlorine and acidic. Next is process external, which is different water characteristic. Lastly, iron and copper both is potential difference. Fourth is soil condition. Leakage water in the soil tank to appear on the soil surface because of the capillary rise. Wet soil cause the plants look and green, indicate enough water even in the drought season. Lastly, traffic load. Vibration will cause tiny crack to the pipe if the bedding is not strengthened and improper depth. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and good evening to our lecturer. My name is Ahmad Ramizi bin Kamarudin from class DKA3E. My metric number is 01DK19F1189. I get the set 6 question 4. The first, my question is, water demand is commonly classified by the types of its uses. Identity 3 classification of water demand. For the first answer is domestic demand. The domestic demand includes the water required in the house for drinking, cooking, bathing, washing of clothes and utensils, sanitary blocks, private vehicle and gardening. The requirement of water for domestic animal is also included in this demand. The second is commercial demand. It includes the water demand in commercial central, like the office building, hotels, restaurant, shopping center, cinema house, motor garage, and laundries. For the purpose, this demand is assumed as 25 liters to 40 liters capita per day. The next is industrial demand. The industrial demand for the water depends on the types of industry in the area, the number and the types of industries such as clothes mill, paper mill, cotton mill, sugar mill, rolling mill, and chemical industry and human pipe. The water demand for this purpose is generally assumed as 20% to 25% of the total water demand of the city or town. For the next question, list 4 factors to estimate water supply. For the first answer is size of the city. Per capita demand for cities is generally large as compared to that for a smaller town, as big city has sewerage house. The next, principles of industry and climatic condition, and the lastly, habit of people and their economic status. Thank you. For the next question, calculate the population in Kuching, Sarawak in years 2012 and 2022 using geometric methods. For 2012, 122500 plus bracket 6.6% multiply 122500, the equal 1305850. And for 2022, 8305850 plus 6.6% multiply 1305850, the equal is 1392036. The last question, if the water usage per capita is 220 liter per day, WDN need water is to be supplied for years 2020 with 3,500 people. Given a service factor F1 0.98, design factor F2 3.5, and RW percentage is 15%. The industrial demand is 1/3 from population demand. Calculate water demand WDN for years 2020.
Hi, Assalamualaikum and good evening to our lecturer. My name is Muhammad Daniel Ashraf bin Muhammad Isham. My matric card number is 01DKA19F1190. I get the set 3 question 6. My first question that is state 3 purpose of wastewater treatment. The first point is conventional wastewater treatment consists of a combination of physical, chemical, and biological process and operation to remove solids, organic matter, and sometimes nutrients from wastewater. The second point that is general terms used to describe different degrees of treatment. In order of increasing treatment level are preliminary, primary, secondary. And the third point that is to remove as much of the suspended solids as possible before the remaining water, called influent, is discharged back to the environment. Second question that is explain briefly the basic process of trickling, filter, and rotating biological contactor method. The answer is the rotating part of this, known as the media, are contained in a tank or through and rotate at between 2 and 5 revolutions per minute. Commonly used plastics for the media are polyethylene, PVC, and expanded polystyrene. The shaft is aligned with the flow of wastewater so that the disc rotate at right angle to the flow, with several pads usually combined to make up a treatment tray. About 40% of the disc area is immersed in the wastewater. Biological glue is attached to the surface of the disc and forms a slime layer. The disc contacts the wastewater with the atmospheric air for oxidation as it rotates. The rotation helps to slow off excess solids. The disc system can be staged in series to obtain nearly any detention time or degree of removal required. Since the system are staged, the culture of the later stage can be acclimated to the slowly degraded materials. And the last question that is illustrate how Imhoff tank works. The image can see at next page. Thank you. That's all from my presentation. Thank you.
Yes, good morning everyone. My name is Taihan Lim and my metric number is 01 DKA19F1191. So I'm from DKA3E. So today I want to present about the subject is DCC 40152, water supply and wastewater engineering. So my question is question 2, set 2, question 6. Okay, question 6A. So the question is state 5 types of chemical characteristics of wastewater. So number 1 is toxic bacteria and oxygen, the main compounds, insoluble, stupendous, solid, organic and inorganic. Okay, about the question 6B. So intellectual state in wastewater treatment process is preliminary treatment. So describe briefly of scanning process and growth remove process in preliminary treatment of wastewater. So in pre-treatment, so it is filtered and remove the glass materials such as the bottle, wood, cord, or fluid which may harm the operation. So the bar rack is all mechanical skin. Sand and grass are removed by gravity setting in a graph camber. So below I have drawn the process about it. Okay, so about the question 6C, illustrate how individual perspective things work. So it used for the individual and not critical resource treatment. So it is low BOD treatment since it has no circular aeration. So anaerobic process to decompose organic compounds of fish. So it effect to decrease suspended solid. And then the chrome such as fat, oil, or grass is floating and action as blood bucket to cover bad smell such as H25 come from the anaerobic process. So below is the drawing that how the individual species tank work.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Zarif bin Zamri from DKA3E. My matrix number is 01 DKA19F1193. Now I will answer the question that I choose, set 6 question 1. First question, list the function of separate and combined system. Separate system is the sanitary sewage and stormwater are carried separately in two sets of sewers. Separate system have two types of pipe that are sanitary sewer and runoff sewers. This system always used in housing and urbans. A combined system is a sewer that accepts stormwater and sanitary water. Then the sewage is treated at sewerage treatment plant. This system is mainly used in the towns where the rainfall is less than the moderate. Okay, second question. Calculate sewage pipe diameter and determine whether the velocity is adequate or inadequate. The detail and info has been given at above. Okay, now we go for calculation. We can use many equation. There are 4 methods we can use. I choose at the very bottom. Now I will explain about N, V and S. Okay, N is a Manning coefficient 0.014. V is for velocity 0.45 meter per second. S is for circular sewer with gradients 1 for 150. Okay, after calculate, we get the sewer pipe diameter is 4.077. And then next step is we take the housing units 240 times water demand per capita 275 liter and household 5%. Okay, after we times all that, we get 330,000. Okay, and the last step is 330,000 times the sewer pipe diameter, and the answer is 1345.410, and the answer is adequate. Okay, for the last question, propose 5 ways to prevent infiltration and inflow in sewerage system. Okay, number 1, sealing manholes and replacing leaky covers. Number 2, using curate-in-place piping, trenchless, rehabilitation or chemical grouting to seal up leaks and open cut replacement of pipe. 3, raising gully traps and disconnecting stormwater downpipes from the gully trap and redirecting it into the stormwater network. 4, fixing broken laterals like relining or replacing and any other private connection. Okay, and then lastly is avoid planting trees and shrubs over voiding sewers so the roots can damage the structure of sewers pipe and cause leak. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Azim Adnan and my material number is 01 DKA19F1195 and I'm from class DKA3E. Okay, so today I'm gonna answer the question set 6 question number 3. Okay, let's get started. First question is list 3 important water usage. First is to keeping plant alive in garden and park. Number 2 is to washing dirty clothes and outfit. And number 3 is to recreation purpose such as swimming pool. Next question is explain the water characteristic of water. Okay, first in color. Color in water is primarily a concern of water quality for aesthetic reason. Colored water gives the appearance of being unfit to drink, even though the water may be safe to drink. Okay, number 2 is odor and taste. Taste and odor are human perception of water quality. Human perception taste includes sour hydrochloric acid, salty sodium chloride, sweet sucrose, and bitter caffeine. Okay, number 3 is turbidity. Turbidity is a measure of the light transmitting property and water and is comprised of suspended and colloidal material. It is important for health and aesthetic reason. Okay, question number 3 is this interpret surface water resources. Okay, there are 3 major types of surface water. Permanent surface water are present year round. These include rivers, swamp, and lake. Semi-permanent surface water refer to the body of water that are only present at certain time of year, including creek, lagoon, and water hole. Okay, man-made surface water is the water can be continued by infrastructure that human have assembled. This would be lake, dam, and artificial swamp. The surface water held by them can be used for renewable energy in the form of hydropower.
Okay, next question is explain 4 human impact in degradation of water quality. Okay, first is activities such as farming, clearing forests and building road, mining can put too much particulate matter in river. This sediment can harm plant and animal by carrying toxic chemical into the river. Secondly is wastes that people dispose of can pollute the air, land and water resources. They affect the quality of rainwater and water resources both above and below the ground. Okay.